On this video, I'm going to teach a better way to attach the shroud lines to a parachute. Now they attach in loops. There's 3 of these lines and they attach to the 6 points. However, the real challenge is trying to get these even. And you want to get these as even as you can so the parachute is nice and even when it falls. And that's not easy to do. You can try to tie it different ways, and there's various knots that are shown for this. I'm going to show a technique using a slip knot. The reason is, once you tie it all together, you can still use the slip knots to adjust it. Once you have it the way you like it, just put a drop of CA glue on it to lock everything down, and your parachute is perfect. And again, the whole idea is try to find a more reliable way to make this parachute much more stable. Now I'm going to show you the slip knot. I'm going to demonstrate by pretending this scissors is one of these holes. I'm going to use some very heavy Kevlar, so it's much easier to see on camera. So the slip knot is really easy to do. We're going to put this through the hole, and now we're going to just feed it underneath and tie a knot onto itself. You see, this is a very simple knot in the making. Rather than pulling it through here, we're going to pull it through under here. It's easier to see once I tie this together, what I've done. Okay, so there, now you can see what I've done. The slip knot simply goes through the hole and just tie a very simple knot right onto the cord itself. And this will allow it to slide back and forth. Now with Kevlar, and I will do this later on when I use the Kevlar to attach things. Kevlar is extremely strong and it's extremely slippery, which is nice. So you can take this knot and you can pull this as tight as you want. And there's no way I'm going to break this 300-pound Kevlar, so I can really pull on that. Even though I pulled this knot extremely tight because it's slippery, I just pull on this and the knot tightens. And it holds. So this is a very nice way to make a knot. So we're going to do the same thing on our shroud lines here for the parachute. And we're going to be able to adjust it. Once we get the adjustment the way that we want it, all we have to do is just put a drop of CA glue onto it, and it's really a nice way to lock everything down. Okay, so here's one of the shroud lines, and this has to go between the 2 holes here. I'm just going to do one of them because it's very straightforward how they work. Now, I did the other work off camera. I just put these squares down. I punched the hole through with the pencil. All of that works just fine, and following that procedure works just fine. But let's do something special here. Now we're going to take this cord. I like going through from the bottom first. It's easier to work with. And I'm going to do what I just did. I'm going to make this knot. Just going to pull it underneath and tie the knot on top. And the interesting thing about this is that it's real easy to position this little pigtail on the end. So if we say, okay, all my knots are going to be this length, and then that's the length that I pull it tight, well then all the knots as we connect to the parachute are going to be the same length. So again, it gives us an easy way to control the knot. You don't have to worry about trying to pull it tight or get it square in here, and if this square is off by a little bit, then that's not an issue. So now all we do is just take it and just pull it tight like this. And there we go. Now how tight? Well, that depends when we put the other cords on and we pull them even and say, well, are these cords even? If they are even, you're done. If they're not even, then you can slide this back and forth a little bit. Once you have it the way that you want, so we put a very small drop of CA glue. Again, I just use the Gorilla Glue. Usually whatever glue you are familiar with or that you may have in stock, they're all about the same. They have different viscosities, and I do not recommend using the runny kind because it's going to run all over. So this is kind of a medium type. It's just a very light type of gel. But you can see with this, if I want, it's like, well, okay, I can take this and pull on this, and I can pull this open too if I want. So I'm just like, well, okay. I just pulled this open, so now I have it sliding back. But it's like, well, I can take this and pull it tight again. Oops, there we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is off camera, I'm going to tie all of these on the other squares, and then we can see if our cords are properly aligned. If they are, we're done. If they're not, we can always adjust these, and then a little drop of glue, and that will lock it into place. So that's how you can get your shroud lines to be exactly perfect. And I know the double overhand knot, that doesn't work very well. I myself tried that. I just cannot do that very well. The reason is the first one's going to slide back and forth, and the second one you need a longer length so that you can actually do the loop. So basically you end up wasting a lot of your cord. It's just not very easy to do. So okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish this off camera with the other cords. I'm going to put all the other knots in. Then I'm going to come back and we can adjust them to see if they are the proper length. What's nice is once we have them adjusted to be the proper length, then we can attach that directly to our camouflage cord. And we're going to do that with, yes, another slip knot. So again, the slip knot is very, very useful. One thing I didn't show you on the before, so one nice advantage of using this particular slip knot, and this is the Kevlar one that I was just showing. So when you pull it tight, like this, the pigtail actually points back to where the cord is coming from. So you can see that if you want to, secure this somehow or something, that the knot is facing directly onto the loop, and then the little pigtail comes over here. If you want, you can pull this back and cut it off, or you can basically roll this tight and just put a little glue on it. It all depends on what you want to do. But the slip knot actually is becoming one of my favorite knots because I can pull it tight, I can loosen it up, and the pigtail actually just points back along the actual cord itself. So I can actually roll this around and deal with it a little bit better. Okay, so that's it for this video. I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of the parachute, and then I'm going to come back and even the lines up.